As I wrote in Redefining the 21st Century Man, one of the most powerful times in my life is when I had an incredible mind shift, a true shift in mind, the way I perceived myself, the way I carried myself. And that came at a time when I changed from scarcity mindset to growth mindset, to a dynamic mindset, to a mindset that would help me push through all the obstacles in my life. Hey guys, welcome back to the Man of War channel. My name is Rafa. Of course, I'm a man on a mission here to transform you into a modern day warrior, into a man of action, a man who lives by an exemplary code of conduct, a man who embodies this warrior spirit in everything that he does. Today, let's talk about metanoia. It is a Greek word that means mind shift. Think about that for a second. Mind shift. How do you shift your mind? It's really affecting this mind shift. As I write in Redefining the 21st Century Man, one of the disciplines in here, that it's really shifting the way that you think, but not just about yourself, but about the environment around you, how you perceive the environment around you. And I will tell you this, in my life, I've had several times that I have reinvented myself, and my mind shift comes right along with it. Because I truly believe that a man will reinvent himself 3 times, if not 5 times in his life, and every single time it comes with a mind shift. Now I'll say this, affecting a mind shift is not easy. You truly have to be committed. You truly have to have conviction in what you're going to change. Now, it takes a long time. It's not something that you can do overnight, but you can do it to a level where you're consistent at building good habits, that you're consistent about really refocusing your purpose on things that have meaning and that have intent in your life. Because living without intention, you might as well walk around like a zombie, right? So when you get to a level where you start seeing that your life has no more meaning and no more intent and really doesn't have that vigor and that energy that you used to have, well, maybe you're kind of slacking in several areas. But to make it happen where you start turning your life around, you must affect a mind shift. You must shift the way that you see yourself and the way that you see the world. Now, I'll tell you right now, for me, one of the most important times was in my middle to late 20s, when I started to see how I had been raised, unfortunately, with a scarcity mindset. And this is not on my parents, this is not on my family, this is just the way that they were raised. You know, everything is hard work and you're trading time for money and so on. And that's just the culture in general, right? It's just, you know, work the time, trade the time for money, and not really have any growth ambition, right? You don't want to go too high because that doesn't look good. That's kind of like the way that I was raised. And I started realizing that is a very, very low scarcity mindset. I wanted to get to the next level. I wanted to be at such a higher level from a personal evaluation, from a personal growth, from a physical and tangible growth also. I wanted finances, I wanted to have financial freedom. I wanted to do things that it was outside the norm for our culture. We were Cuban, we are Cuban. I come from a Cuban descent. My parents are great, great people. I could not ask for better examples in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that I don't agree with a lot of times is that shut-off point when it comes to financial, right? And what I like to look for specifically is, in my personal way of living, is challenges, right? That really help me become stronger and learn from the challenges every single day. And when I take these challenges and I'm able to overcome them, I use what I learned from them and I integrate them in my forward going life, right? So I'm not gonna go back to the well and make all these mistakes all over again. And as I forge my mind, getting stronger and stronger, there comes to a point where you affect this mind shift where no longer are you seeing yourself the way that you were before. Now it's almost like you're seeing yourself differently. Like when people talk to you about how you were in the past, you're like, man, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's the old me. Those people that can't understand that people change, they're losers. They're weak. they're soft. Those people that are constantly just weighing you down and say, well, you're the same dude that you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Let me say this, you can make a drastic mind shift, a drastic change, okay, just in a couple of years. You don't even need 5 or 10 years. The reality is that if you truly make a mind shift, you won't even remember who you were that much. Why? Because you're so focused on the future and forward going and the living in the present that all the shit that you did in the past, you got to let that go. You have to, while it's there and you know that it's there and you're better because of it, you're living for the now and for the future. That's when you start really realizing that your mind shift had weight. It had impact in your life. So I kind of like to talk to people in a way that it's simple. So once you make that turn, the idea is now you've stepped up to another level. We talk about the warrior's domain, and the warrior's domain is truly where you operate at a higher level and you look down, right? You look down at your world around you and you are leading from the front. You are leading in ways that most people don't even understand. Why? Because you see things in a much more clear way. You have clarity of mind in everything that you do when you're operating at such a high level, but you're not going to get there until you have this change of mind, this change of way, commitment, conviction, and the ability to stay the course all the way through the process of changing that mindset will make the difference between you actually affecting a real mind shift or not in your life. For me, the most powerful times of my life has been when I affected a mind shift, from when I was 8, 9 years old and I was attacked in the bakery by some kids with a knife. That changed me. That made me study martial arts and get stronger physically and mentally, right? I went to start studying judo the next day. I wanted to be able to defend myself, right? That triggered me to become better. That's a true mind shift because I have had conviction. I had this powerful way leading me, right? This powerful energy leading me down that road to become a martial artist and to be able to protect myself. Also, when I was in my 20s, to shift my mindset from just kind of working, from my father's company and then decide to go onto Wall Street, right? I wanted to drive the $100,000, $200,000 car. I wanted to live in a $1 million, $2 million home. I wanted to go out there and just carry myself and rub shoulders with other people at high levels, right? I changed my mind immediately. I made that turn. In law enforcement, the same thing. When I went from a Wall Street broker to a cop, right, to be a narcotics cop in one of the most violent cities in America. Think about that for a moment. I went from making $500,000 a year to making freaking $38,000 a year. Just like that. Why? Because purpose, intent, drive, and I wanted to become the best version of myself as a narcotics agent, as a SWAT officer, as a field training officer, as a police academy instructor, right? So we can go on and on here. These are all mind shifts that have happened in my life. I have reinvented myself so many times in my life that I can tell you without a doubt that each one came with a true mind shift. And recently, I just hung my badge about 1 year and 3 months ago, and I became a full-time CEO here, right? Every day running this company. That took a tremendous mind shift because I went from a life where I was working in all sorts of environments to a life now where it's all business oriented, right? And the reality again is when you look at this from a perspective of constant shifts and constant reinventing myself, it's all worth it because I am who I am today because of all the times that I've reinvented myself. It's almost like I leveled up every single time in one way, shape, or form. All right, guys, if you're enjoying this content, all about walking the warrior's path and living a life that embodies the warrior spirit, I want you to smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, share the hell out of this content, and like this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. May God bless.